Hello, and welcome to the second in a series of videos on the 2016-2017 Writing Units of Study. Throughout this series of videos, we will explore the re-envisioned writing assessment tools and practices, as well as possibilities for aligning your instruction and assessment practices to empower your students to own the increasingly demanding expectations for writing. More specifically, in this video, we will explore how you might utilize the stance of teacher as writer to support your students as they strategically use mentor texts, rubrics, and checklists to try on specific writing skills, techniques, and craft moves to focus their writing work. But first, let's take a moment to highlight and review the suggested performance tasks or writing assessment tools in Stage 2 of the 2016-2017 CCAP Writing Units of Study. When you access a writing unit of study in CCAP and click on the Stage 2 tab, you will find a list of suggested performance tasks, including the Writing Assessment Practices page of the JLIT website, a writing progression, an on-demand performance task prompt, a rubric, and a corresponding checklist. In the previous video of this series, we predicted that you might already be using these suggested performance tasks to design lessons that align the genre-specific writing units of study instructional practices with these re-envisioned writing assessment tools. However, we also predicted that you might be wondering how to tighten this alignment. To this end, we explored how you might support your students as they gather, immerse themselves in, and closely study the kind of writing they will be expected to write like. We also explored how you might introduce a checklist to your students and ask them to examine how the author of their self-selected mentor text demonstrated the criteria or grade level descriptors outlined on the checklist, asking them to identify one or two descriptors that they will need to further explore to better see what they might need to do as writers to meet these expectations. We discussed how the criteria on the grade level specific checklist may be the just right challenge for many of your students. But for your students who need acceleration, we also noted that you might opt to have students annotate grade level specific rubrics, as the rubrics outline the criteria from one grade level above to 2 grade levels below. We explored how you might support your students as they closely study and annotate Ruth Tam's use of comparisons and expert quotes to layer information to maintain tension, engage readers' interest, and build complexity through her article, "This is How You Get Ebola." And finally, we noted that this close study might not only help students clarify specific craft moves they might make, but it might also help students see how to strategically use mentor text to strengthen their vision of the criteria or grade level descriptors outlined on the rubrics and checklist. At this point in the study, you might show students how you use these notable skills, techniques, or craft moves to set specific goals for your writing work, enabling you to take the stance of teacher as writer, focusing your instructional write-alouds for whole group instruction as well as one-on-one and small group writing conferences. More specifically, you might demonstrate how to use comparisons and expert quotes or dialogue to layer information, developing a familiar or personal idea related to one of your writing territories. Your instructional write-aloud might look and sound something like this. One of the most memorable memories I have from my childhood is learning to water ski. I can picture and describe the setting: Alcova Lake, the cove southwest of Fremont Canyon and north of Red Bluff Beach. Perfect midsummer day, temperatures in the low 90s, slight breeze from the north. I can also describe the characters. Me, 10 years old, 4 feet 8 inches tall, approximately 90 pounds. Life jacket and skis on, rope handle tightly grasped, knees tucked and ready to go. Dad, experienced captain, water skier and water skiing instructor, taught 4 older siblings and countless cousins and friends. Carrie D., my sister, 12 years old, intermediate skier and spotter, responsible for raising the skier down flag. And I can describe the action, but I wonder what this might look and sound like if I used a comparison to frame and develop a particular sequence of events. To help me do this, I'm going to start by imitating the first sentence of our mentor text. Imagine Ebola's glycoproteins as giant oak trees with branches and leaves. So I'm remembering this day, the day I learned to water ski, and I'm thinking about the comparisons I might craft. I was up on my first attempt and I celebrated by raising my arms, mindlessly letting go of the rope. Imagine a water skier as a world champion boxer raising his arms, declaring his victory. Imagine a water skier as a world champion boxer hanging his head in defeat. My second attempt began and ended in a more dramatic way. Imagine a water skier as a flat rock skipping across the surface of the lake. Imagine a water skier as a boulder tumbling down the hillside, breaking apart with every twist and turn. I've got some interesting comparisons, but I think I like the boulder tumbling down the hillside best. I'm going to try to use this image to frame my thinking. While I write and think out loud, look and listen to the writing work I'm doing to develop this scene and its sequence of events, so that you can try this craft move in your writing, developing a familiar or personal idea related to one of your writing territories. As I think about drafting this scene, I know I want to try and use this comparison, a boulder tumbling down a hillside, breaking apart with every twist and turn. But I also know that I want to capture the actions that show my second attempt to water ski. I remember gripping the rope, refusing to let go, my ski catching the edge of the water, the binding being ripped from my foot, and the ski flying behind the wake of the boat. I remember fighting to find my balance while my arms were yanked forward and my chest down, kicking my legs out from underneath me. And I remember my sister yelling, let go of the rope." As I reread my writing, I'm seeing that I'm capturing the action, but I'm also realizing that I want to continue to work on adding specific details, perhaps through more dialogue, to further develop the comparison of a skier to a boulder tumbling down a hillside. To further build on your stance of teacher as writer, you might continue to use instructional write-alouds to show students how you expand a writing territory by considering less familiar or personal ideas related to the original territory, ideas that require research that prompts you to ask about real life, real experiences, real people, real ideas and beliefs. This instructional write-aloud might look and sound something like this. While I write and think out loud, look and listen to the writing work I'm doing to develop additional ideas for my original writing territory, so that you can try this writing strategy to expand your thinking for one of your writing territories. As I reflect on my original writing territory, the memory of learning to water ski at Alcova Lake, I realized that I could use this story to teach my readers something significant about life and its contrasts and contradictions, its tough questions, its aha moments. As I reread the first sentence of my write like, imagine a water skier as a boulder tumbling down a hillside, breaking apart with every twist and turn, and the sequence of events that follow. I wonder how this scene might be situated to teach my readers something significant about failure. I'm also beginning to think more about the setting, Alcova Lake. For me, it's synonymous with recreation, a place where I spent fun-filled summer days with family and friends, boating, skiing, swimming, cliff jumping, camping, and fishing. But it's more than a place of leisure. It's also a place of industry. Alcova Lake is a man-made reservoir created by a dam on the North Platte River about 30 miles southwest of Casper, Wyoming, that stores the waters of the North Platte River for irrigation and electric power generation. At first glance, it seems that the benefits of Alcova Lake are immeasurable, but I wonder at what, if any, costs. Now there's a tough question that should help me research the contrasts and contradictions of man-made reservoirs. A tough question that should help me focus my writing so that it teaches my readers something significant about the costs and benefits of dams on our rivers. As you continue to explore the 2016-2017 CCAP writing units of study and the re-envisioned assessment tools and practices, please contact a member of your secondary ELA content specialist team with your questions.